players talk about a road dog mentality. What is that?
Just an attitude, an edge. Your back's against the wall. You're gonna have to earn everything that you get, and it's gonna be a tough, hard-fought battle. If you're gonna have a chance to win, you got to have that edge to you. Create your own energy. Create your, the kind of environment that you want, and you got to really, both emotionally and physically, impose your will, on the game itself.
Particularly challenging to create that energy on a road game?
I think if you're playing with guys that aren't any good or don't have confidence, it probably would be. So I don't. I think we've got the right kind of culture and the right mindset, collectively, as a unit. I mean, they like to perform and they like to compete, and they respect Miami and the personnel that they have, and a number of our guys know a number of their guys, and know what kind of mentality that they'll bring to the table as well.
You watch Brad Hyatt on film and study him. What does he do well to make him so effective?
Precision and poise, accuracy. Ball comes out on time. He's got a live arm. Understands defense as well.
Total defense stats nationally, they're so dependent on how other teams are playing, who they're playing. Did you really think in mid-season you'd have a top 10 defense with this one?
I don't know. I spend no time, I'll be honest, Aaron, thinking about that. I don't care about that. I want to play well, and so the gauge is, how we are practicing and how we play and perform on Saturday. So that's the gauge. Are we doing our part week in, week out, doing what we're capable of doing to help us win, and not hanging on and finding a way, playing well, and so that's kind of the gauge and the mindset, and you're hoping for that, and thinking and believing that if we do X, Y, Z, we don't get hurt, then we should, this should be the outcome, and so that's the expectation. How guys come along and develop, and what issues that you are always faced with week in and week out and season to season. That always changes, and figuring out your own personnel. Here's what you thought you had, and then here's how things are developing, and here's your strengths, here's your weaknesses, here's where you need to help cover up scheme or player-wise, and kind of move on again, and then match it up week to week. We've seen a variety of offenses. I was just telling Don, I love we do have some diversity within our group of players, and again, I know it's been well documented. We don't have the same depth of the players, but we have guys that can do a lot of different things too. So match up against a physical, run team, play to triple option, and hopefully we'll see. This is its own challenge, a unique challenge up to this point in the season, as far as the throwing game and matching up. So, we've played well in spurts this year, and we can certainly play better, having a killer instinct, and last year's group was so hungry for perfection, and I know these guys want it, but wanting it and getting it can sometimes be two different things, and so if you were greedy and were a stats guy and looked at, okay, you gave up a cheap, easy 40-yard run here and a 40-yard dump down to the running back, one was a misfit and one was just turning a guy loose, you could be, and that's why it's really hard to be like the best, because not enough people, players, coaches, whatever, those are the hidden plays there that make the difference between being the absolute best and then whatever else there is. So anyway, I know you asked me what I thought, and I thought we had a chance to be solid, and again, I'm fearful always of not doing our part, and being an albatross to everything else, and So I don't want to just win. I want to win and complement the win by doing things structurally, strategy, effort, toughness, all those things that go into it. I want to do our part, and who doesn't, you know? So, so, and I've got the feel. I understand. You know, sometimes it's, well, they played better people or whatever. It all really does at the end of the day wash out. Sometimes we only look at it like this and see whoever we're competing against, and then you start looking and pull the curtains back a little bit and start really evaluating it. You know, before we played Oklahoma, I remember, they haven't played a, Big 12 offense. And I'm like, okay, well, I can go name the teams in the Big 12, and some of them are more prolific than others, but it's all about matchups. I could say they haven't seen a front seven, like we have, or whatever, So you can always say that and have that argument, and you figure it all out on the field.
All that being said, are there any of the traditional metrics that are used to evaluate teams that you say are reflective of?
I think there are. I think there's something that's out there. There's something out there that oh, really?
Well, there are a lot of
But I think there's a lot of things, and it isn't just run defense, and it just isn't pass defense, and it just isn't total defense. Are you disrupting the flow of an offense? I love 3 and outs. I love playing great on third down, and I certainly like playing great run defense. And when people are struggling running the ball, they like balance. When people can't get into a rhythm and you're off the field 3 and out, it's demoralizing. It allows your offense to get the ball back quickly and have opportunities to score, and it allows you to get into a rhythm defensively. And then third down, is everything. And if you can't get off the field on third down, you're a miserable, defensive coordinator, and that trickles down. And but playing great third down defense is what it's all about. And same thing. I think statistically, I bet you that you win a bunch of games if you're really good in those particular areas. But being disruptive and getting people behind the chains, I think that's all reflective of being an aggressive, attacking, disruptive defense, and that's what you want to, for us, that's what we want to be known for. And sometimes the stats will validate it, and maybe other times they necessarily don't. I don't know, but these last few years and the end of the 13 year, I think that we started, kind of going in, with that trend. But so.
What does Kaya do so well when you watch him on tape? What's he doing?
Decision making, reading the defense, distributing the ball, understanding leverage pre-snap. He knows, you're going to really line up like that? Watch this. And he puts the ball right where you're not. And so I think he's probably a film junkie, and understands pre-snap looks and leverages. And, hey, it's not that complicated. He's probably that guy. That he just anticipates rotation or pressure. He stands very strong. He does not panic. Plays with great poise. He doesn't freak out. And he did all this. He watching all of his games a year ago too.
He's
Played that
obviously
way.
ahead of most guys.
Yeah. He's a good player. Really good player.
As good a quarterback as Kaya is it nice to be facing a traditional pocket passer quarterback as opposed to a mobile quarterback like Jeff Smith?
Oh, none of it's nice, if he's a wooden Indian back there and he couldn't throw, that's the guy I want to face. That would be nice. That guy.
I don't think you face any of those.
Somebody got they had the 3 pick sixes, and then the other team they had 9 sacks. I mean, golly, that would be so good. Talk about an ego booster. Honestly. But
You talk about in 3 and outs. Coach Swinney's talked a lot about winning and turnover margin. Is that something? 3 and outs to me I mean, I agree with you.
I think obviously there's not a better stat that is more telling in winning and losing and more profound. But we've shown you can overcome that. Now, let's say you lose the turnover battle, and then you don't do those other things well. That you're going to definitely lose. If you win the turnover battle but you don't do those other things well, I don't know how it would all shake out. But I do. There's no doubt that winning the turnover battle and then winning the rushing battle collectively, those two things, who can stop the run and win the turnover battle, usually you win. And explosive plays is another great stat in there too. So I don't know, but winning the turnover battle is something we got to be better at, and hawking the ball. And we had some opportunities and we missed. We didn't make a couple plays, but that's a huge stat in winning and losing, no question about it.
It seems like your team, like in the Notre Dame game when offense was kind of just sitting on it a little bit, but you guys did force those turnovers, did what you had to do. Would you say that they have that perception about this is a time when we need to force a turnover, or maybe it's okay to get a 3-and-out right here and give it back?
Oh, you're always preaching. Everybody does. Hey, we got to come back out. We got to get a turnover, And sometimes you got to get lucky, and then sometimes you get into a rhythm with turnovers, and it just people expose themselves. I thought last week they weren't going to expose themselves. So if I got a young kid and I say get in the A gap, don't leave the A gap, he's going to stay in that A gap. Pretty good chance by the end of the week he's staying in that A gap. So if you teach a quarterback, you say, listen, do not take a sack. I don't care what happens. Don't you dare take a sack. Get rid of the ball. And I thought, again, a week ago, so if he holds the ball, if he's not worried about that, he's going to hold it, and then he gets blindsided and the ball's on the ground and good guys get the ball. And so I think sometimes you're the coach overcoaches maybe a young guy, restricts, some of the things that they want him to do and protect him, sprint him out, and hey, if it's not there, throw it away now, So anyway, I think that sometimes is reflective too, that we didn't get any turnover, but we need to be physical. I don't think we weren't physical. Sometimes you don't get forced fumbles and stuff because you're soft. And early in 2012, we were very, very soft, and it showed. We never made any plays on the other side of the line of scrimmage, and we didn't force any turnovers. And so that's why we didn't have turnovers then. Last week we weren't soft. I really believe that, but I thought that their running backs did a good job holding on to the ball, and the quarterback was not going to make any mistakes that way, turning the ball over. So.
What's your plan for working DJ Buter back on the fold?
Well, he's taking reps yesterday, so you got to just evaluate him here in the next few days and see where he's at and see how he's moving, and that's really it. It's not real complicated. Those other guys are, they're probably going to be sharper and have worked. I don't know what DJ's done. I know that because I've been told he's been working out and staying in shape, but I don't know what he's done other than that, and it doesn't matter to me. What are you doing now? What are the other guys doing? What have they done? And it's like anything, if Ben Boulware got banged up and was held out this week, but he's healthy next week, he's coming back, he's starting, because he's earned that. And so DJ's got to earn, whatever playing time he gets, he's got to earn it. So other guys have definitively earned it too. But it'll, whether it's this week or next week, whatever, it'll happen.
What do you see from those Miami skill position players?
They're long. They catch the ball well, strong, skilled. I know a number of them just having recruited in South Florida, so they're skilled, all of them. It doesn't even matter what numbers they are. I know they're 6-3 and it's 11 and 23-5, and their tight ends are athletic. Make plays in space, and they do a good job going up and get the ball. Quarterback throws a nice ball out in front or back shoulder, all that. So.
What kind of threat does their running back present out of the backfield, kind of as a pass catcher?
They really good. You know, Yerby catches the ball well. They do a good job. You know, getting him. They attack coverages, so they know where your soft parts are in your coverage, and so Yerby's explosive and dynamic. He can do a lot of different things, both running and catching.
We talk about how it's an
And
adjustment.
so can Walton. You know, Walton's a good player too.
Talk about how it's kind of an adjustment going away from home and going on the road. How's an adjustment going from playing so many run-oriented teams to kind of one that likes to throw it around a little bit more?
Yeah, it's a different challenge, and you still need to match him with precision and being physical and tackling well and not allowing him to run the ball. And but you have to be precise in space. You know, it's the bottom line. You're gonna have to match up and squeeze things. You know, there's just more space. So, as opposed to squeezing the A, B, and C gaps and putting a bunch of dudes in there and fitting it all up right, you got to fit the coverage right. And you know, with leverage and understanding and quick, fast eyes and good technique. You know, so the technique and the precision are still required. It's just in a different way. But you still have to be physical in space. You know, as well.
You spend a lot of time in South Florida recruiting, right?
Yeah,
So,
some. Mhm.
So, I mean, does that matter to coaches that this is like, I'm going to play a game in a place where I recruit out of state and, you know?
I don't really care. I don't know. I'd rather play in Death Valley. I know that. I mean, you know, Clemson gets exposure. Sometimes that's over, whatever. But there'll be a bunch of, you know, high school coaches and kids down there. There's a ton of kids down there that we don't recruit that would love to come to Clemson. And I pass up a lot of good players, and for this and that reason. So, but it's good exposure for us down there. But people know who Clemson is, and they have a lot of respect for us down there, and a ton of talent, you know, in South Florida. That's, you know, well documented. But it doesn't matter where you got to play the game, and so.
With the respect that Kinsey gets on one side, is this a game that Cordray is really going to be tested?
Yeah, they're all going to be tested, but yeah, Cordray's going to get big old number 11 over there. You know, they got a big receiver that does a good job, you know, with his body and using his hands, well schooled, physical, catches the ball well with his hands, strong hands. So, be a good challenge. It's going to be a very good challenge for him.
What makes him capable of, it seemed like he's adjusted to that really well, being targeted a lot.
He's getting more comfortable. I think, and obviously with that, the more experience you get, the more success you have. It validates everything you've been told and what you're doing to get ready week to week. And but he's confident. You know, a guy like McKenzie, you know, he never has lacked for confidence. That's part of his DNA. Cordray wasn't necessarily a real confident guy. I don't think he really knew. I think he was confident in his speed, but it's more than just being fast. And you know, Gary Peters wasn't real fast, but he was a good technician by his senior year. He could cover anybody. And but he was very confident. With that came a lot of confidence. And Breland became a real confident player. But that's all through experience and having success. And I think that you're starting to see that. And Cordray's starting to scratch the surface a little bit of what, you know, he's capable of. And there's a lot more to be had, you know. But he's so much more in tune. We can have this conversation. We're talking about the mesh route, and here's how they do it out of 2x2. When they go to 3x1, they flip the back, and you got to cut split. Here's what I need you. I need to get the inside leverage, and and 6 weeks ago, he'd been like, you know, his eyes would be rolled back in his head, and his tongue would be out, and I'm talking to myself, and I got myself ready to play the mesh, and unfortunately I can't, because I could cover the mesh on technique alone and recognition pre-snap. Oh God! But now I can stop mid-sentence and he can finish it, and so he's able to. I'm with you, coach. I'm with you. I got you. And when you can say it, and you're going to play it, and we say that all the time. So if we can have this conversation and you know and you can verbalize it, and I start it, you finish it, you start it, I finish it, whatever. Then guys, usually that transitions and translates to good play on the field. And if they sit there and give you the you know, after you're done, or you ask them the question and they give you the head to the side and their mouth's open, you got problems. Good luck.